And these three terror suspects are not the only U.S. residents joining ISIS.
3 Brooklyn residents charged with conspiring to provide material support to ISIS.
Chilling new information about the Denver teenagers who are apparently trying to get to Syria to join ISIS.
Terrifying new information about one of the Americans who went to Syria to fight for ISIS.
We're doing our best to track these people in their travel.
Our enemy knows that it's on the offensive, and that's why it's recruiting so many jihadis from around the world.
They tend to be all over the map, literally and figuratively.
And today's terror arrests come as the world awaits the fate of as many as 100 Christians kidnapped by ISIS in Syria. And Senator Dan Sullivan from the great state of Alaska joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Great to see you, Greta.
Great work on the behalf of law enforcement for picking up these 3. Of course, they haven't been convicted of anything yet, but nonetheless picking them up, and I appreciate that. But it only takes one to be successful.
That's right.
They're here legally.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Well, listen, I think what we need to do first is this brings a point that I think most Americans recognize, that ISIS is a big threat, a direct threat to the United States. And what we need is to be able to define that threat, define who the enemy is, and in this case, it's radical Islamist terrorists, and then put together a strategy incorporating all instruments of American power, offense and defense, that is going to defeat ISIS.
Are we doing it? Are we doing it?
No, we're not doing it. You know, we've had I'm on the Senate Armed Services Committee. And
you're a vet?
And I'm a vet, still serving. Just actually gave up command of a Marine Anglico unit. It's like a Marine Recon Battalion a couple of weeks ago in the reserves. But we've had luminaries, Democrats, Republicans, secretaries of state, military 4-star generals retired over the last several weeks in front of the Senate Armed Services Committee saying that this is one of the biggest times of turmoil and threat that our nation has seen in decades. And yet, when asked what the strategy is, and it's got to be broad, to defeat ISIS, we're not getting the response from the administration that we need. In many ways, we're not even getting the president and the administration to level with us. They're talking about threats. Climate change and their national security threat or in their national security, recent national security document is one of the biggest threats they list. They have to level with the American people about the threat that we have, who the enemy is, and what our broad-based strategy is to defeat ISIS.
All right. Well, there are about 100 Christians kidnapped yesterday. That's just, add to the list. Who knows what's happened to them now? I mean, nobody expects a good ending for the 100 Christians or 90 or whatever it is. Now we've got the problem is, there's always, when it's being fought over there, it's a horrible heartbreak to us, right, in a question of morality and what we're going to do and how we feel about it. Well, when we find out that we got them, 3 just today here in the United States who have a mission to commit terrorism, and you only need one person like in Times Square with one automatic weapon or
That's
whatever.
right.
It doesn't take a lot. So, it does seem like we're running out of time to take, to do a lot of stuff.
Well, look, I think it's a wake-up call. And again, I think there's been this issue of, well, that's someone else's war over there. That's really not a threat to the homeland of the United States. But it is a direct threat. And I think that's why, again, we need to be able to level with the American people on exactly what that threat is and then put together a strategy that defeats ISIS.
Senator, thank you. Nice to see you, sir.